I want you to close your eyes for a moment, just for a second. Think back to a time in your life when you felt like everything was going wrong, like you were surrounded by walls, trapped in a corner with no way out, when you couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe it was a tough decision you had to make, or a failure you just couldn't get past. Maybe it was a time when you questioned your worth, or whether you were capable of succeeding at all. I want you to think about that moment. Now I want you to imagine, just for a second, that you push through that moment. You find the strength somewhere deep inside to move forward, even when it felt impossible. That feeling of triumph, of success. When you look back and realize how far you've come, you never gave up, you kept moving, and you made it. That's what I'm going to share with you today. My journey wasn't always this way. In fact, there was a time when I was just like you, lost, uncertain, and scared of failure. But it's not the fear that defines us. No, it's the courage to keep going, the resilience to keep fighting even when every single part of us is telling us to stop. This journey, my journey, it was never easy, but it was worth it. I want you to understand this. Success doesn't come overnight. It doesn't come in a moment of inspiration or when everything is going perfectly. Success is a process. It's the product of 1,000 small decisions. And trust me, I know this from experience. You see, I grew up in an environment where success seemed like a distant dream. It seemed like something only certain people could achieve. People who had connections, people who had the right resources, people who had luck on their side. I didn't have any of that. I came from a place where doubt was my constant companion, and fear. Fear was my biggest enemy. I remember those nights, lying awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I was ever going to be good enough, wondering if I was ever going to get out of this rut. But then something shifted, a tiny, almost imperceptible change in my mindset. I started questioning myself. Why was I thinking this way? Why was I allowing fear and doubt to control me? Why wasn't I pushing myself harder? The truth is, I had been scared for so long that I had stopped taking action. I had convinced myself that I wasn't good enough, that success wasn't meant for me. I had accepted defeat before even trying. But let me tell you, the first step to success is acknowledging that fear, confronting it head on, and deciding that you will no longer let it control your actions. It wasn't easy. It took time, but I made a decision. I would not let my circumstances define me. I would not let my doubts hold me back. I would take action, even if I wasn't sure where it would lead. I started small, very small, maybe too small, but at least it was something. I set a goal, and that was the first time I had set a goal in a long time. It wasn't some grand, life-altering goal. It was just the next step, the next logical thing that would get me closer to where I wanted to be. And you know what? When I achieved that small goal, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. A sense of accomplishment, a sense of pride. And that feeling, just that little bit of success, was the spark I needed to ignite the fire inside me. From there, things started to shift, slowly at first. But the more I achieved, the more my confidence grew, the more my belief in myself grew. It was like a snowball effect. The more I believed I could do it, the more I pushed myself to take risks. The more I faced my fears, and the more I succeeded. But don't mistake this for a smooth journey. No, it wasn't. There were many setbacks along the way. There were days when I thought I couldn't keep going. There were days when I failed, and I failed hard. But the key here is this. Failure is not the end. It's a lesson. It's feedback. It's the universe telling you that you're not on the right path yet. But if you try again, you will be. One of the biggest challenges I faced, and I know this is something you might relate to, was dealing with the opinions of others. Oh, how many times I let the judgment of others hold me back. How many times I let their doubts and criticisms make me question my own abilities. But here's the truth that I learned through all of that. The only person whose opinion matters is your own. When you begin to trust yourself, when you start making decisions based on your values, your intuition, and your dreams, the opinions of others start to fade into the background. You begin to realize that you are the master of your destiny. And once you realize that, everything changes. There came a point, after all the ups and downs, after the wins and the losses, when I realized something profound. The real measure of success is not how much money you make or how many accolades you receive. No, success is the person you become along the way. It's the strength, the resilience,